Let's talk about the day a huge chunk of the internet just broke. November 18th, 2025. One tiny mistake at one company, Cloudflare, sent a massive shockwave across the globe. This is a story about how fragile our digital world really is. So let's get into it.
And that right there, that's the whole story in a nutshell. We live in this hyper-connected world where one little push, one tiny error can set off a chain reaction with absolutely enormous consequences. And this time, the first domino to fall was something nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming.
So let's set the scene. It's November 18th, and for millions of people, for thousands of businesses, it was the day the internet just stopped.
And we're not just talking about a little slowdown here. We're talking about a full-on failure. You can just imagine the chaos, right? E-commerce sites are timing out. Critical business tools just won't load. And customer support lines everywhere are absolutely exploding with people asking the exact same thing. What is going on?
I mean, just look at the scope of this thing. It hit everyone. We're talking e-commerce, software tools, even banks. If your business relied on Cloudflare for anything essential, like DNS, which is basically the internet's phone book, or for security, you were pretty much knocked offline. This was not just a social media app going down. This was the backbone of the digital economy grinding to a halt.
So, when a huge piece of our digital world suddenly goes dark like this, where does your mind go first? Yeah, exactly. It was no different this time.
Instantly, social media was just on fire with speculation. It had to be a massive cyber attack, right? We've all been trained to expect the worst, to see some bad actor behind every major outage. But as you're about to see, the real story was way less dramatic and, in a way, a lot more scary. Cloudflare's CEO Matthew Prince got out in front of it really fast to shut down the rumors. He was crystal clear. This was not a cyber attack. It wasn't ransomware. No hostile nation was involved. All those scary theories, totally wrong. Which of course left an even more uncomfortable question.
So if it wasn't some shadowy group of hackers, then what was it? Well, the answer is somehow more worrying, because it points to a vulnerability that's way harder to defend against than any attacker. We're talking about simple human error inside a ridiculously complex system.
Okay, to really get what happened, you just need to know this one term. A feature flag file. It sounds super technical, but it's not. Just think of it like a set of digital light switches. Developers use these files to turn new features on or off for you without having to push out a whole new piece of software. It's a super common, super useful tool. And this is how it all fell apart. It all started with one single, tiny internal tweak to a permission setting. That little change triggered a bug that caused one of those feature flag files to suddenly swell up to a massive size. And the truly wild part is how fast it happened. In just a few minutes, this gigantic corrupted file got pushed out across Cloudflare's entire global network. The systems just couldn't handle it. They started to choke and then fail, one after the other. Now, from an engineering perspective, fixing a global outage of this scale in just over 3 hours, that is heroic, incredible work. But for a business that's losing thousands of dollars every minute, 3 hours is an eternity. So yeah, the technical fix was fast, but the damage to revenue and to trust, that was already done. It was a massive wake-up call for anyone who thought their systems were bulletproof.
But here's the thing. This isn't really just a story about Cloudflare. It's a cautionary tale about the fragile state of our entire digital world.
Think about the constant tug-of-war that's happening inside every big company right now. On one side, you have huge pressure to roll out the latest, greatest AI tools. But on the other, the foundational core systems that everything is built on are being stretched to their absolute breaking point. We're all racing to build these amazing new things on top of a shaky foundation. And that, well, that's a recipe for disaster.
And here's the stone-cold truth. Your customers, they don't know what a feature flag is, and they really don't care if it was a hack or a configuration error. All they see is that spinning wheel of death. They see a transaction that failed, and they see a really good reason to go to your competitor.
Which brings us to the one question every single business leader needs to be asking themselves right now. What's that one tiny, overlooked part of your system that could bring the whole thing crashing down?
So, after all that chaos, what's the big lesson? What's the one thing you absolutely, positively cannot afford to ignore from this whole mess? We've all seen this number, right? 99.99% uptime. It's the gold standard. It's the promise that lets us all sleep at night, thinking our services are rock solid and safe.
But that promise? It's a total illusion if your foundation has a crack in it.
That shiny uptime percentage is completely meaningless when one single point of failure can bring the whole house of cards down.
See, true strength, true resilience, it doesn't come from chasing the next new feature. It comes from being absolutely obsessed with the fundamentals. It means you are constantly testing your failovers. You are hunting for weak spots in your architecture, and you are prioritizing a strong core over a long list of new bells and whistles. Because you really don't want to find out your safety net has a hole in it when you're already in free fall.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. When was the last time you really, truly tried to break your own system? Because as Cloudflare and the entire internet learned that day in November, if you don't find your weakest link, trust me, it will eventually find you.